I was able to stack up 48,410 points for destroyed ticks, fireballs, and pops during the Lock Gate event on Blue Gate. For your equipment, bring a couple of weapons that you like for those enemies. I ran with an anvil and a venator. I also recommend bringing at least 8 stacks of adrenaline shots. I brought 8 stacks and almost ran out by the end of the match. You can also bring zip lines to help you move through some of the spaces where there are enemies quicker. And then I recommend seeker grenades for some of the comments you're going to find along the way here. It just makes it easier to take those out and not put yourself in danger shooting with the anvil or the venator. Once you spawn in, you want to find the keys that are scattered in 4 different locations on the map. You can find the keys at the Ancient Fort, Raiders Refuge, Reinforced Reception, and Pilgrim's Peak. There is one key in each location that will open the locked gate. Now, as I was looking for keys during this match, somebody brought in keys from a previous match and unlocked the gates early, so I was able to get down there at about 36 minutes into the 40-minute match. I'm going to walk you through one full rotation, and then just keep in mind that you just repeat this rotation throughout the entire match to earn the score that I got. Once you enter the tunnel, there's going to be a large open space. There's going to be a bunch of fireballs and pops that are scattered in this area. Make sure you take out every single one, and then you're going to move to the left-hand side. As you are looking for your fireballs and your pops, make sure you keep an eye out for a sentinel turret or even just sentry turrets. They can be put onto the walls and they can really cause some grief if you're not paying attention to those. There is a couple of comets that will be roaming around, so make sure you're prepared and ready to face those. I use the photoelectric cloak to get myself out of danger, and it's a decent way to deal with comets if you get caught out. You do need to watch out for a bastion that is spawned inside of this area at the beginning of the match. Usually there are raiders that focus it down, so I tend to just ignore it, but just be mindful that that bastion is there and can cause a lot of danger if you're not paying attention. Once you've cleared out the main area, you want to move into the left side towards what is below the reinforced reception. Now, if you get there first, I highly recommend clearing out that entire reinforced reception area, but if there's raiders already up there, it's not worth your time to try and get the enemies there because there just won't be as many with that many players being in there. So you can get a much higher score if you're able to get that locked down earlier in the round. Continue moving through the hallway to the left-hand side until you open up into the back of the actual traffic tunnels themselves. From here, you want to cross the road with all of the broken down trucks, and then you want to head to the tunnel that is in the back-hand side. Again, continuing to rotate around to the left. Now you can place zip lines down in some of these locations where there aren't as many enemies. This will help you rotate through them a little bit faster with each rotation. Continue walking through that tunnel until you come out into another open space, again at the back end of the traffic tunnels. You can find a couple of pops in this area, and there's also a comet that roams pretty frequently throughout the match here. Take out all of the enemies. I can't say whether or not taking out the comet will give you more pop or fireball spawns, but it's better to have those taken out than to let them roam up behind you and take you out. Continue rotating around to the left into the traffic tunnels, and you'll find a couple more of the smaller enemies. It can be either pops, fireballs, or even ticks in this area, and you want to keep moving through this entire tunnel. Again, you can also place zip lines here if you want, and you can peek into the little alleyway areas to see if there's other enemies. Shooting in the area will usually aggro ticks to you, so I like to shoot at something if I see it and listen to see if I hear any ticks, and if not, I'll just move on. Continue rotating around to the left, and you may find a tick or two along the way. Once you've made it all the way through the traffic tunnels, you'll come to this opening that has a zip line that you can go up. Take this zip line up a couple of floors, and it will drop you off on a balcony that overlooks the entrance to the traffic tunnels. This balcony can have a few pops and fireballs, so pay attention when you get up here and make sure you take those out. As you get onto this balcony, look down into the traffic tunnels. There are a lot of enemies that you can see from up here that have respawned from the beginning of your rotation, and you can pick them off from up here and stack up that score quickly. It's also a great vantage point to get all the enemies in this space, whereas if you're on the ground and you're running by the cars, it will block some of the sight lines to the enemies. Now, once you're here, you've essentially completed one full rotation, and you just essentially rinse and repeat the strategy from here. You just go back towards the reinforced reception area and begin your farm again. And so that is the entire rotation. That's all you need to do throughout this entire match. And then pay attention to where the last extraction is. Depending on where it is will determine on when you need to leave the area. I had a faraway extraction, so I left at about 3 minutes remaining, giving myself some buffer time to deal with the bombardier and the bastion that are out front of the lock gate towards the end of the game. Once you've stacked up enough ticks, fireballs, and pops eliminations, head back to Speranza, collect any loot if you haven't already, watch your score fly up the leaderboard. That's going to be it for me today, y'all. Thanks for watching.